Back. Most people don't lose in life because they're not smart enough or lucky enough. They lose because they can't control what happens in their own head. They want love but don't love themselves. Back. They want success but avoid the discipline that builds it. The truth is, your mindset is either your weapon or your weakness. And how you train it decides everything: your peace, your power, back, and the people you keep. Most people spend their lives waiting for the perfect moment to start, believing that clarity and confidence must come first before they take a step. They think success is about feeling ready, back, but readiness is a myth that keeps you stagnant while the world moves on. The truth is, every person who's achieved something meaningful began with uncertainty in their chest and fear in their mind. Back. Leila Hormozi often reminds us that you don't get to feel confident before you earn it. Confidence is the reward for doing the work, not the permission slip to begin. You build it through repetition, back, through keeping promises to yourself when it's easier to break them. You build it by showing up on days when your motivation is gone and your excuses sound convincing. You don't need to be fearless to act back. You just need to act even though you're afraid. Every moment you push through discomfort, you prove to yourself that you're capable of more than you thought. Back. Discipline is the foundation that separates those who talk about their dreams from those who live them. It's the quiet force that demands you show up again and again, even when no one notices. Back. People confuse motivation for discipline, thinking they need to feel inspired to move forward. But discipline doesn't ask for feelings. It asks for follow through. Leila often says, back, you're not supposed to feel good every day. You're supposed to be consistent. That's the price of growth, the cost of self-respect. Each time you do what needs to be done instead of what feels good, back, you're voting for the person you want to become. And over time, those small votes turn into identity. You stop needing motivation because you've built integrity. Your brain begins to associate effort with pride, but not pain. That's when real change starts, when the work becomes who you are, not what you do. In life and love, the people who win aren't the ones with the most talent or luck. Back. They're the ones who keep going when things stop being easy. Most relationships fail not because of a lack of love, but because one or both partners stop showing up when it's no longer convenient. The same rule applies to success in business or personal goals. Consistency is a form of respect to your craft, to your partner, and to yourself. If you only give effort when it's comfortable, back. You'll never experience depth in anything. Discipline is what sustains connection when emotions fluctuate. It's what keeps you working on communication instead of shutting down, back. Keeps you training your body when you're tired. Keeps you chasing mastery instead of mediocrity. People think passion drives progress, but discipline is the real fuel. Passion fades, habits remain. Back. The ones who stay the course build unshakable confidence, not because life is easy, but because they've proven they can handle when it's not. When you stop waiting to feel ready, something shifts inside you. You begin to understand that readiness is just fear dressed in logic, a disguise to keep you safe from discomfort. Your brain will always find reasons to delay. I need more time. I'm not qualified. I'll start when I feel better. But you never think your way into confidence. You earn it by doing. Leila Hormozi embodies this truth. She didn't wait for approval or a perfect plan. She started, stumbled, and refined through action. That's how growth works. You learn faster by moving than by analyzing. Back. The path gets clearer once you begin walking it. You realize failure isn't the opposite of progress. It's the foundation of it. Every time you fall and get up again, back. You're teaching your mind that you can be trusted. That self-trust is what creates inner stability, and that's the real definition of confidence. Back. The problem with waiting is that it creates dependency on circumstances instead of resilience. When you depend on the right time, the right feeling, or the right mood, you give away your power. Winners take it back. They act without conditions. They train themselves to do the uncomfortable thing first, to have the hard conversation, to make the call, to take the risk. Each small action compounds into momentum, and momentum builds belief. The brain doesn't know the difference between big wins and small ones. It just records evidence. Every time you show up, you're adding to that evidence bank. Take it back. Rewriting the story you tell yourself about who you are. Leila often says, you don't build confidence by talking to yourself in the mirror. Back. You build it by keeping the promises you make when no one's watching. That's the quiet kind of power that doesn't need to be loud. It just performs. Confidence isn't a personality trait. Back. It's a skill you develop through experience and integrity. You can't fake it for long because your subconscious always knows the truth. If you keep breaking your word, your self-esteem erodes, no matter how many affirmations you repeat. But if you honor your commitments, especially when no one's holding you accountable, you start to trust yourself deeply. In fact, that's why discipline is the purest form of self-love. It's choosing long-term respect over short-term relief. It's telling yourself, I deserve better than my excuses. People think discipline limits freedom. Back. But it's the opposite. It creates it. When you're disciplined, you're not controlled by impulses or moods. You own your time, your energy, your focus. You move from reaction to creation. Back. And that shift changes everything because suddenly you realize you're not at the mercy of your circumstances. You're in command of them. Every moment you act despite discomfort, you strengthen your mental muscle. Back. It's like weightlifting for your mind. The first few reps hurt, but that pain is proof of growth. You start small, waking up earlier, making the call, showing up when you don't feel like it. Over time, it becomes natural. Your threshold for resistance expands. What once felt impossible becomes your baseline. That's the quiet transformation that builds winners. Leila's approach to growth has always been practical. Stop overcomplicating, start executing. Every great transformation begins with one simple act of self-discipline. You don't need to overhaul your life overnight. You just need to win today. Do what you said you'd do. Keep that promise. Then do it again tomorrow. Progress compounds, and soon you'll look back and realize that consistency has turned into confidence, and confidence into capability. The gap between where you are and where you want to be isn't filled with motivation. It's filled with consistent, disciplined action. Motivation fades when things get hard. But discipline doesn't care how you feel. It just demands that you show up. Winners understand that feelings are unreliable, but habits are dependable. So they build systems that carry them through low energy days. They don't wait for perfect moods or environments. They create progress through structure. That's why their growth looks effortless. It's not magic, it's method. They've built an inner contract that says, I do what I said I'd do no matter how I feel. That integrity breeds unstoppable momentum. It's not glamorous, but it's effective. The mindset that wins isn't about intensity, it's about consistency done relentlessly. The beauty of discipline is that it doesn't require talent, just commitment. Anyone can choose to show up. Anyone can decide to do one more rep, write one more page, have one more hard conversation. It's accessible to everyone, but practiced by few because it demands delayed gratification. You have to trade the comfort of now for the pride of later. But once you taste that pride, comfort loses its grip on you. You start chasing growth instead of ease. Leila Hormozi often speaks about how results are a reflection of standards. Raise your standards and your results follow. Discipline is what protects those standards when motivation disappears. It's the armor that keeps you moving forward when the world feels heavy. And in the end, it's what separates the people who wish from the ones who win. Love alone has never been enough to sustain a lasting relationship, and deep down, most people know that. It feels intoxicating in the beginning, but the spark fades when growth and alignment are missing. Leila Hormozi often talks about how real love isn't about butterflies, it's about building something that can withstand pressure. Feelings are fleeting, but vision and values anchor you through storms. Two people can adore each other and still fall apart if they're not growing in the same direction. That's because love without alignment eventually becomes resentment. You start blaming the other person for holding you back when in reality you both stopped evolving. A winning mindset in love is built on shared purpose, not dependency. It asks, how can we grow together? Instead of, how can you make me feel good today? That's where true partnership begins to form. People confuse emotional connection with emotional safety, but they're not the same. Safety doesn't mean avoiding conflict, it means trusting that you can face it together. Leila emphasizes that growth often feels uncomfortable, even in love, because it requires accountability. You can't hide behind your ego if you want real intimacy. You have to communicate even when your pride wants to stay silent. The strongest couples aren't the ones who never argue. They're the ones who argue well. Focus on solving the problem, not attacking the person. They see conflict as data, not danger. That's what growth looks like. It's messy, but it's honest. The same principle applies in life. Every challenge is feedback, not failure. The moment you stop fearing friction and start using it, you begin to evolve. Alignment doesn't mean being identical. It means being directionally united. You can have different interests, personalities, and strengths, but your values must complement each other. Leila and Alex Hormozi built their success on this foundation. They didn't compete, they collaborated. They understood that one person's growth fuels the other's, not threatens it. A winning mindset sees partnership as multiplication, not subtraction. It's about becoming more together than you could be alone. But that only works when both people are committed to personal development. You can't drag someone into alignment, they have to choose it. Love becomes toxic when it tries to save instead of inspire. The healthiest relationships challenge you to rise higher, not stay comfortable. Growth must be mutual, or it will eventually create imbalance. The truth is, relationships mirror the quality of your mindset. Take it back. If you're insecure, you'll crave control. If you're confident, you'll give freedom. Leila often highlights that you can't build a healthy partnership from an unhealthy place within yourself. You attract what you are, not what you say you want. That's why working on yourself is the most loving thing you can do for someone else. When you take responsibility for your emotions, you stop projecting them. You stop expecting your partner to heal wounds they didn't cause. That's emotional maturity. Owning your triggers instead of weaponizing them. Love rooted in ownership grows stronger because it's built on truth. When both people take accountability instead of shifting blame, trust deepens. It's not about perfection, it's about progress together. Growth in love requires brutal honesty, especially with yourself. It means asking hard questions. Am I showing up with integrity? Am I nurturing or neglecting the connection? Am I growing or coasting? Layla's approach to relationships is refreshingly raw because she refuses to romanticize avoidance. Real love isn't soft all the time. It's disciplined, intentional, and sometimes uncomfortable. It demands communication when silence feels safer. It asks you to listen instead of defend. Most people don't fall out of love. They fall out of curiosity. They stop learning about their partner, assuming they already know them. But people evolve and relationships must evolve with them. Curiosity keeps love alive because it prevents complacency. When you keep discovering each other, connection never goes stale. Love and ambition can coexist, but only if they're integrated, not competing. Leila often talks about how she and Alex built both business and marriage by respecting each other's drive. They didn't make each other choose between love and purpose. They built a life where both could thrive. That's what alignment looks like in action. You don't sacrifice your dreams for a relationship. You build a relationship that amplifies your dreams. A winning mindset doesn't view love as a distraction, but as a partnership in growth. It's not about splitting energy between love and success. It's about merging them with intention. When both people are clear on their vision, they become unstoppable. You can chase your goals without losing each other in the process because you're running toward the same future. Dependency often disguises itself as love, but it's rooted in fear, not connection. When you rely on someone else for happiness or identity, you lose your power. Layla's message is clear. Love should expand you, not shrink you. You should feel supported to be your fullest self, not pressured to play small. The moment your self-worth becomes tied to another person's approval, you stop leading your own life. That's not partnership, it's attachment. A winning mindset knows that love is healthiest when it's chosen, not needed. Two whole individuals create a relationship that thrives, while two half-healed people create one that drains. The goal isn't to find someone to complete you, it's to find someone to evolve with. That distinction changes everything. In life, just like in love, alignment demands clarity. You can't grow towards something you can't define. Leila teaches that you must know who you are and what you value before you can align with another person. Most relationships fail because people enter them without direction. They expect love to give them purpose instead of sharing purpose through love. You can't build a future together if you haven't built a foundation within yourself. When you know your mission, you can invite someone into it rather than expecting them to create it for you. Clarity attracts clarity. It sets standards, boundaries, and expectations rooted in growth. And when both people are clear, communication becomes collaboration, not conflict. The beauty of alignment is that it breeds peace. You stop forcing things to work that aren't meant to. You stop chasing validation and start valuing connection. Love stops being about ownership and becomes about partnership. Leila often emphasizes that emotional maturity is what sustains relationships long after passion fades. Take it back. It's being able to navigate challenges without running away or collapsing. It's giving grace while holding boundaries. It's understanding that love isn't always glamorous, but it's always worth the work. The same principle applies to success in life. Alignment creates flow. When your choices match your values, resistance decreases. That's when you start experiencing progress that feels effortless, not forced. A mindset that wins in love and life isn't built on intensity, it's built on intention. It's not about chasing constant excitement, but cultivating steady alignment. Layla's philosophy is that consistency is the real form of romance. Showing up, choosing growth, choosing understanding, that's love. Whether it's in business, relationships, or self-development, Alignment is the bridge between passion and purpose. You can have all the love in the world, but without shared growth, it won't last. And you can have all the ambition in the world, but without connection, it will feel empty. Balance isn't about doing less, it's about doing what aligns with who you are becoming. Love and life both demand the same thing, the courage to grow. Emotional control is the cornerstone of every strong mind, and it's often the missing piece between people who survive and people who thrive. Most of us are taught to chase external achievements, but few are taught how to master the chaos inside. Leila Hormozi often says that emotional discipline is a competitive advantage because while most people react, leaders respond. When you're reactive, you hand your power to situations you can't control. When you're composed, you stay grounded in your values no matter what happens. Emotional control doesn't mean you don't feel. It means you choose what to do with those feelings. It's the ability to stay steady when the world gets noisy. It's learning that your emotions are not commands but signals. Once you understand that distinction, you start operating from strength instead of sensitivity. The biggest misconception is that emotional control equals suppression, but that's not what it means. Suppression is ignoring your emotions. Control is understanding them. It's saying it back. I can feel anger without becoming it. I can feel fear without obeying it. Layla's approach is rooted in awareness over avoidance. She knows that emotions are valuable data. They tell you what matters, what hurts, and what needs attention. But data is only useful when interpreted correctly. Most people let their emotions dictate their actions instead of directing their awareness. That's why they keep repeating the same mistakes, chasing temporary relief instead of long-term growth. Emotional control is the skill of creating space between feeling and reacting. That space is where wisdom lives, and it's where power is built. In business, emotional control can be the difference between making a deal or losing it. In love, it can mean the difference between deepening trust or destroying it back. Leila often shares how emotional maturity saved her both professionally and personally. When you can stay calm while others panic, you become dependable. Back. People start trusting your judgment because it's not clouded by impulse. You stop burning bridges just because you're angry in the moment. Back. You stop making promises fueled by guilt or excitement that you can't keep later. Emotional control helps you navigate complexity without collapsing under pressure. Back. It's what keeps your character consistent when circumstances aren't. And in a world that rewards reaction, the person who stays regulated becomes rare and powerful. Back. It's not easy to control your emotions when everything feels personal. Someone criticizes you, and immediately your ego jumps in to defend itself. Someone withdraws, and you assume rejection. Back. But emotional maturity teaches you to pause and ask, what else could this mean? That pause is growth. It's the moment you choose curiosity over judgment. Back. Leila often says that your triggers reveal where you still have work to do. If you're constantly offended, it's not the world that's the problem. It's your unhealed parts demanding attention. Back. Emotional control requires radical honesty with yourself. You can't grow if you're always trying to prove you're right. You grow when you're willing to see where you're still reactive, still defensive, still attached to approval. That level of awareness transforms how you relate to everything. Learning to regulate emotions doesn't make you robotic, it makes you reliable. The strongest people feel deeply. Back. But they don't let feelings dictate their next move. They know when to sit with pain instead of numbing it, when to listen instead of explode, and when to walk away instead of chase chaos. Back. Leila's mindset is built on emotional resilience, the ability to return to equilibrium no matter how hard life hits. It's not about never breaking down, it's about bouncing back faster each time. Back. Emotional control is training your nervous system to stay steady when your environment isn't. It's choosing composure when your instincts scream to react. It's knowing that your peace is your responsibility. Back. Not someone else's gift. The power of emotional control is that it gives you clarity. When you're not consumed by emotion, you can actually see the situation for what it is, not what you fear it to be. Anger clouds judgment, fear distorts perspective, and guilt manipulates decisions. But when you're centered, you can lead yourself through any storm. Leila often talks about how composure builds credibility. Back. People follow calm, not chaos. In leadership and love, the one who maintains stability becomes the anchor. That doesn't mean you suppress truth. It means you express it effectively. When you're calm, back, your words carry more weight because they're not drenched in emotion. You can communicate boundaries with firmness instead of aggression. You can express vulnerability without losing respect. That's what emotional mastery looks like in action. Most people avoid emotional control because it requires self-awareness, and self-awareness is uncomfortable. It forces you to see your patterns. Back. To admit that some of your reactions aren't justified, they're habitual. Leila emphasizes that growth begins when you take responsibility for those patterns. You stop blaming your past, your parents, back, or your partner for every trigger you have. You start owning the part you play in your pain. That's when emotional control becomes empowerment. You realize you have a choice in every moment to react or to respond, to escalate or to evolve. The people who win in life are not those who avoid hard emotions, but those who know how to move through them gracefully. Back, that's emotional fitness, the ability to stay functional even when you're emotional. The relationship between emotional control and self-respect is direct. Every time you react impulsively, you often end up regretting it later. You say things you don't mean, you make decisions you can't defend, and you lose credibility with yourself. But every time you choose restraint, you build respect. You start to see yourself as someone who can be trusted under pressure. Leila teaches that this trust is the foundation of confidence. You can't feel strong if you can't trust yourself to stay composed. Back, emotional control is how you earn that trust back. It's not about denying emotion, it's about directing it. Anger can fuel assertiveness. Sadness can create empathy. Fear can drive preparation. Every emotion has power when it's managed instead of misused. In relationships, emotional control is what keeps love from turning into destruction. When you can stay calm during conflict, back, you give your partner a safe place to be honest. You stop arguing to win and start communicating to understand. You stop taking everything as an attack and start seeing it as feedback. Back, Leila's perspective is that love without emotional maturity will always crumble under pressure because eventually passion fades and triggers surface. The couples who last are the ones who manage their emotions, back, not each other. They don't need to control their partner. They control their own reactions. That creates emotional safety, and emotional safety creates lasting intimacy. Without control, love becomes chaos. With it, back, love becomes connection. Emotional control is not something you perfect. It's something you practice daily. Life will keep testing your composure until it becomes second nature. You'll have moments where you fail, back, where emotion wins, and it's okay. The goal isn't to never feel angry or afraid. It's to recognize those emotions faster and recover sooner. Leila often reminds people that emotional control is self-leadership. Back. You can't lead others if you can't lead yourself. The world doesn't reward the most emotional person. It rewards the one who can stay effective while emotional. That's the mindset that wins in every area of life. It back. When you learn to regulate your emotions, you stop being a victim of circumstances and start becoming the architect of your outcomes. You attract what you are, not what you say you want back. And that truth sits at the center of every result in life and love. Most people chase success or connection, hoping those things will fix how they feel about themselves, but it never works that way. It back. Leila Hormozi often says that the relationship you have with yourself sets the standard for every other relationship you'll ever have. If you want to win in love and life, back. Start by building a version of yourself that you're proud of. That means doing the work that no one sees, healing, learning, failing, and showing up back. It means taking full responsibility for your growth without waiting for permission or validation. Because no one can hand you a winning mindset, you have to earn it through discipline. Back. You stop waiting for love to complete you when you realize it should complement you. That shift changes everything about how you live and love. Building a life that deserves the love you want starts with radical ownership. It's easy to point fingers, to blame partners, parents, or circumstances for where you are back. But Leila's approach to life leaves no room for excuses. She believes the moment you take ownership, you take back power. Ownership means looking at every area of your life, your finances, your health, back, your relationships, and asking, what am I avoiding? Growth begins when honesty replaces denial. When you stop outsourcing responsibility, you start building self-respect. It's not about perfection, back. It's about accountability. Winners don't blame the world for being unfair. They adapt to it. They don't waste energy on what they can't control. They double down on what they can. That's the mindset that separates those who repeat cycles from those who rewrite them. A life that attracts deep, healthy love is built on self-discipline, not desperation. Too often, people want connection before they've cultivated stability within themselves. They crave a partner to calm the chaos they refuse to face alone. But love built on dependency always collapses under its own weight. I trust myself to take it back. Like emotional independence is the foundation of strong relationships. You don't need someone to complete you when you already feel whole. You want a partner, not a savior. You want addition, not rescue. Hit back. When you build your own peace, you stop settling for people who disturb it. You begin to choose love from a place of abundance instead of scarcity. That's how you create partnerships that grow instead of drain. Back. Real love doesn't ask you to abandon yourself. It celebrates your evolution. The same principles apply to success in life. You don't get the results you want, you get the results you've prepared for back. People often look at successful individuals and assume luck played the biggest role, but Leila's story proves otherwise. She built her life through grit, consistency, and high standards, not wishful thinking. It back. Preparation meets opportunity. That's the real formula for winning. You earn confidence by doing hard things repeatedly until they no longer scare you. You build capacity by challenging your limits instead of running from them. Every small win stacks into identity, and that identity becomes the engine behind everything you do. Success, like love, isn't built overnight back. It's built daily in the decisions no one else sees. Those invisible choices define who you become. Self-mastery is the highest form of freedom, and it's what gives you control over the quality of your life. It back. You can't expect peace if you keep operating from chaos. You can't expect fulfillment if you keep seeking shortcuts. Leila often reminds people that your habits are the reflection of your standards. Back. If you want a better life, raise them. Don't wait for motivation, build structure. Don't wait for perfect timing, create momentum. The more disciplined you become, back. The freer you feel because you're no longer enslaved to impulses. When you can command yourself to act despite discomfort, you become unstoppable. You stop chasing ease and start chasing excellence. Back. That's when life begins to reward you. Not because it suddenly got easier, but because you got stronger. In relationships, that same self-mastery transforms everything. When you're emotionally disciplined, back. You stop turning disagreements into battles. You stop needing constant reassurance to feel secure. You become your own source of validation, and that energy changes how others experience you. Back. Leila's philosophy emphasizes that love thrives when both people are grounded in self-awareness. You communicate instead of react. You set boundaries instead of building walls. You stay calm under pressure because your self-worth isn't up for negotiation. That's attractive because it signals strength, not dependence. When two self-led people come together, back, the relationship becomes an environment for growth, not survival. That's the difference between connection and codependency. One empowers, the other entraps. It back. Building a life that deserves love also means facing your fears head on. Fear of failure, fear of rejection, fear of not being enough, all of it. Leila's mindset is that fear is an invitation, not an obstacle. What you avoid holds the power to control you. What you confront loses its grip. The people who win aren't fearless. They're just brave enough to take action despite fear. The same goes for relationships. The deeper the love, the higher the risk. But avoiding vulnerability to protect yourself also blocks connection. Growth in love and life requires courage, the willingness to show up without guarantees. Back. Every risk you take teaches resilience. Every failure becomes feedback. And eventually fear turns into fuel because it reminds you that you're still pushing boundaries. To deserve the love and life you want, back, you must first become the person capable of sustaining them. Many people chase outcomes without becoming the kind of person those outcomes require. They want loyalty but don't practice integrity. it back. They want abundance but don't practice discipline. Leila's philosophy cuts through the noise of stop wishing, start working. When you align your actions with your aspirations, the results become inevitable. You can't attract what you're not prepared to maintain. Love and success both demand consistency, not convenience. That's why self-work is never wasted. It's the groundwork for everything else. You build the life first, the rewards follow. Alignment isn't luck, it's the natural consequence of effort meeting clarity. At some point, you realize that winning in life and love isn't about being perfect. It's about being prepared, intentional, and self-aware. Leila often says that peace and success are earned through structure, not spontaneity. You can't control outcomes, but you can control inputs. You control how hard you work, how well you communicate, how much you grow. The rest unfolds as a reflection of that effort. Life becomes simpler when you stop negotiating with your standards. Love becomes healthier when you stop abandoning yourself to keep it. And confidence becomes unshakable when it's built on action, not affirmation. Everything you want already exists on the other side of consistency. That's where fulfillment lives, beyond excuses, beyond comfort, beyond fear. The mindset that wins in life and love is built through repetition, reflection, and relentless self-honesty. It's understanding that success isn't about luck and love isn't about fantasy. They're both about alignment. You become magnetic when your values, actions, and energy match your vision. You attract better partners, better opportunities, and better outcomes because you've raised your internal standard. Leila Hormozi's story proves that fulfillment comes when you stop chasing validation and start embodying value. Build the life that deserves the love you seek. Build the habits that create the results you dream of. Because when you master yourself, everything else falls into place, not by chance, but by choice. That's how you win in life and love, with purpose, discipline, and unwavering truth.